Leah had a series of spiritual experiences that completely changed how she sees reality. But what's most interesting is not just what happened, but what she learned about energy, protection, and personal power through it. So, Leah, welcome to Meant to Be Heard.
Thank you. I'm super stoked to be here.
I'm so excited for you to be here. We were connected through a friend, Caitlin. She messaged me and she was like, oh my gosh, you need to talk to Leah. She has such an incredible story, such cool experiences. And she had done a Reiki session with you or a healing session with you that she absolutely loved. So she connected us. So shout out to Caitlin and anybody listening. If you have had a spiritually transformative experience or you know somebody who has, definitely pass them along or reach out to me and maybe that you or them can be on the podcast. So yeah, I always love personal connections. So Leah, let's get into you. Let's get into your story. You have had a slew of spiritually transformative experiences and I want to get into all of them. But before we do, I'm hoping that you can walk us through life before these experiences started. Did you have a religious background? Did you believe in spirit? Walk us through your beliefs and what life looked like before the experiences started happening.
So grew up in like a small mountain town with three other siblings and did not have any spiritual, religious, anything like that. Definitely, actually, if anything, I remember as a teenager watching like the award shows, and they would be like at the end saying, or thank you, I thank God and stuff. And I'd always be like, why are they thanking God? They did it. Like I was so disconnected to any
Right.
of that. So, um, yeah, and I basically was the typical teen from a small town. You get out as soon as you graduate. Went to school, thought I was going to be a vet, all those things. So, always knew I was going to be a mom. Which, yeah, I ended up back at my hometown when I got pregnant. So, yeah, that
Okay.
was kind of the start of it all. Yeah, very close to my family.
Okay. So the start of it all
Yeah,
was coming back home and having your first child?
pretty much. Yeah, because around that time, my brother was also back at home and he woke up one day with a lump on his neck. And it turned out to be non Hodgkin's lymphoma. And he was 19, so still pretty young. And that kind of just started a 2-year journey, I would say, of the cancer journey for our family. We had never gone through that. So being a new mom, no, it was like, oh, trying to figure all that stuff out. So still nothing like happened in that time other than after my daughter's second birthday, about 5 days after he passed away. So he was 21. And then it was soon after that that I started having experiences.
So you're in your early-ish 20s at this time?
Yeah, it's about 27, I think. Yeah.
Okay, so you're 27. You have a 2-year-old daughter. Your brother, unfortunately, and I'm so sorry, passes away, had a 2-year battle with cancer. And so, what kicked off the spiritual experiences? Like, when did they come into play?
The very first time anything happened, like I was back at my mom's house, I was in a bedroom and sleeping, and then all of a sudden I could hear my dog barking, kind of woke me up. And I had a baby gate across the stairs. I was upstairs. And I was thinking, oh, I have to let the dog out. I really don't want to get up. It's in the middle of the night. And the dog would not stop barking. So I was about to get out of bed. And then that's when all of a sudden there was like a really loud white noise. I was paralyzed. This figure entered into the room. It was very like shadowy, had a top hat and a suitcase, and came to the bottom of my bed and put the suitcase down, turned, and then walked towards me. And definitely, as you're lying there paralyzed and this loud noise, the fear kind of takes over, and you're like, oh my gosh.
Wait, so you hear a loud noise. What kind of a loud noise? Can you describe it to us?
The best I can say, it's like white noise. It's just really like staticky. It's just
Okay.
Yeah, and hummy and buzzy. Yeah.
And it wasn't like a sudden noise and then goes away. It's like consistent. You just hear
No,
the static noise.
consistent, getting louder whenever it comes closer, kind of.
Okay. And is this a sleep paralysis type thing, or are you awake? Like you physically wake up and then you're seeing this shadowy
I
figure?
am absolutely awake because the dog had woke me up, and so, like, I was about to get out of bed, and then the paralysis came over me where I couldn't even like, I was, like, trying to lift my body, and I was just like, "Ugh." So when this figure's coming towards me and I can't lift up, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, what's going on?" So, yeah, that was, like, a little bit terrifying. So
Okay.
then it leaned towards me and I was like, "Oh, fuck," basically. Sorry for the language.
No, that's
And,
okay.
yeah, then it kind of went away, and I was just lying there, all the everything just stopped immediately. The figure was gone, the noise was gone, and then I could still hear my dog, though, like, scratching at the gate, so
What? Okay, this is crazy. This is actually what nightmares are made of. It sounds like a horror movie. So the shadowy figure, you don't know male, female, like does it feel like one of the other?
it felt male, yeah.
Male. So this male shadowy energy thing with a top hat. Have you heard of the Shadow Man? Or have you looked this up
Um,
since?
I have not looked this up, no. I feel like I've heard people
Oh,
talk about a shadow man, but I don't know anything.
okay. My guest, the third episode, Catherine Glassman, we were talking about her experiences and she brought up the Shadow Man and said that it kind of tormented different families. And her sister was apparently followed by this Shadow Man for a period of time. And so then when you said a top hat, shadowy figure,
Ah,
anyways, so this happens to you. So it leans forward towards you. Did you make out the face anymore? Or is it still dark and shadowy? You can't really see.
just all shadow, yeah.
Okay. And then gone. The sound, everything
Yeah,
gone, and the
yeah,
paralysis gone as well at the same time.
yeah.
What time of night is this happening?
I think it was probably like 1 or 2 AM, I'm not sure, but yeah, it definitely was like yeah,
Do you think your dog saw the figure first and that's why he was barking?
100%. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So what next? What do you do after that?
It's hard to go back to sleep, that's for sure, and you don't really wanna get up either because it's dark out there, so you're just kinda
Yeah.
lying there. Yeah, yeah.
Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine. Right. You're just laying there.
Yeah. I actually shared this story with my family because I was like, "What the heck?" And found out my grandpa, who used to stay in that room, and when he came to visit with his suitcase, had passed away. So I don't think it's a shadow man. I think it was grandpa.
Yay!
Yay.
Oh my gosh, thank goodness. Okay, okay. So he was just like saying hi to you. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That would have given you so much relief then.
Yeah, definitely. But also open, I was just like, what the heck is all of that? So definitely made me start to be curious, I would say. So
Mhm.
yeah. And then from there, like things were happening, like really vivid dreams, like flying. I would wake up flying through the house. So I could be in different rooms and I'd be looking down at people sleeping stuff at people in my family. So yeah, it just that's kind of where I realized we are just way more than our bodies. And so that was kind of the start of my journey of energy.
It kind of sounds like these dreams were almost astral projection dreams.
Yeah. So all of this was new to me. I had no idea, especially back then. I mean, that was, I want to say, like 19 years ago. So not a lot of people talked about it. You know, you kind of had to, it was underground. Had to
Right.
figure it out. Yeah. But yes, astral projection for sure. Yeah.
And so you remember, seeing family members while they were sleeping and you knew it was the same night because they're wearing the same thing or things like that.
Totally. And just like, it was so fun. It was peaceful and just like flying around. And you're just like, oh, this is great. Like, you're not connected to this dense body. So,
Hmm. Okay. Did you ever leave the house and go somewhere else?
Yeah, not on like it wasn't like this purposeful like, "Oh, I'm done with the bedrooms and I'm leaving." It would be more like you think you're having a dream and then you're realizing that like, "Oh, you're, in space," kind of thing. "Let's go journey somewhere else." So,
Okay, wild. Just going back to the part with your grandfather, did he give off any sort of energy that you should be scared? Because you did feel scared because you felt that paralysis, you couldn't move, plus it's the shadowy figure. But did you get any sort of weird vibes from him, or was it just the fact that this is a new thing? I can't move my body. I don't know what's happening. So almost the fear of just the unfamiliarity of it all.
totally. Yeah, looking back at it now, I can see it was literally just the fear of like the first time something like that was happening. So it just overtakes everything. Yeah, your
Mm.
mind goes like to the worst place usually. Yeah.
You start having other unexplainable spirit experiences. So, can you share with us what those were?
Yeah. I mean, I started it's kind of like what I was saying with the astral travel and then the vivid dreams, but then also just starting to see things like orbs, just little like flashes of lights, those kind of things. Like when you start opening up, you're aware of like, oh, there's such greater things going on that like even currently right now I can see like a little bit of orbs going around. So I know that like we are being supported here. So yeah, I don't know. It was just a really lovely and then like things like my daughter would be talking to my brother and playing a puzzle on the floor. So she was so young and not realizing like she was so open too. And so that was lovely to experience and witness with her as well. So
Oh, can you describe to the listener what the orbs look like?
they are just like round balls, almost like bubbles, I guess you could say. You'll often see, people, if you look back in photographs and stuff, you'll see those orbs around like family events and those kind of things. And so it very much looks like that. Yeah.
Yeah, in photographs, I've seen it, especially in old photos where, you got the film developed. It's like these little white balls, and
Yeah.
you're just like, what is this thing of light refracting? But yeah, so those are kind of orb like. So that's what it looks like. Are they colorful at all, or are they like these white balls of light?
Kind of like translucent. I almost want to say, yeah, like the closest you could get is like a bubble.
Like a bubble that you would blow, that kind
Yeah.
of a thing. Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So it's this buildup of noticing orbs. And did you think that it was out of the ordinary, or did you kind of think, oh, everybody can see these?
No, definitely thought like, okay, something it's different. It's
Okay.
weird.
Okay.
Yeah, because I would, I'm a pretty open book and I would chat with people and I felt very lonely. Didn't really have too many people to talk about experiences.
Right. So who did you talk to when you started seeing these things?
I started basically like my mom was kind of open to it and my sister. So we kind of chatted a little bit, but yeah, I didn't really talk to too many other people about it, to be honest. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a very
yeah,
common theme with my guests.
yeah,
And I think it is smart too when you're starting to go through these things. It's so delicate and you're not really in the place to defend it. And so it is good to kind of keep it close to home while you are kind of processing it and find those safe spaces and those environments where you can share freely and you're not going to get judged or scrutinized or whatever. So that makes a lot of
totally.
sense. So then what happens next on your journey? You're seeing these orbs. How does it kind of get to the next level?
Um, when you start realizing that you're more than this, then like you start getting, I don't want to say bored with your life, but you're shifting things and you're wanting to learn as much as you can. So I think I kind of just started more of a journey of who are we? What are we doing? Why are we here? I start those kind of questions that I think we've all asked ourselves at one point. And then it was, I was doing some schooling and stuff and raising my child that I ended up, yeah, just being really close with I think being really close with the family, especially after the death and being there for my mom. And like, as a parent myself, her losing a child, I wanted to be, it was just one of those, you want to be there for each other. My my younger sister, so it's basically about 6 years later, my younger sister was in a 4-year like nursing program. She was coming home for Thanksgiving, and then we got a phone call that she was in the hospital. So we ran, gathered everyone, went as fast as we could. She was having brain surgery. It turned out she had AVM, which is an arteriovenous malformation. So basically, a cluster of arteries and veins that were in the back of her brain. So it kind of formed like a blood clot. So essentially, she died. So,
Oh my
um,
gosh.
yeah.
Whoa.
So we were like, wow, we're going through this again, super sudden. Like, she was coming home on the Friday. I remember talking to her about her borrowing my boots because she didn't want to pack them on the plane. And yeah, we were there for the weekend and pulled her off life support on the Monday, I believe. So it was pretty fast.
So two very significant, and I mean three as well with your grandfather, like significant deaths that you are around,
Yeah.
but your siblings very impactful.
Yeah, and both of them were younger, and so she was 24 when that happened. And that's like when it really like everything kind of even took me even further on my journey after that. So I had had another baby, moved, was in this new house, and then that's when like I started I'm like I need to work with energy. This is like crazy what's going on. The orbs were coming back more. Gosh, I was seeing like horse heads. I would wake up and like there would be a horse just staring at me. There would be a code up in the ceiling, like green code. I didn't know how to read it. There was, I don't know, all sorts of different like colors and all this sort of things were happening. And I remember just watching like these beautiful orbs coming up my stairs into my room, and like at the time, though, it's still kind of scary, right?
Hmm.
So, not really knowing what to do with all of this, that's where I kind of started. I actually got into massage first. And then as I was with people and their energy, I realized, like, oh, I can like feel what's going on in their body and those kind of things. And so that's where kind of the Reiki had come in because I'm like, I want to do something with the energy. That's what kind of made me feel really like empowered, I guess, or excited, those kind of things.
Hmm.
But even then, I was like, it still wasn't exactly what I wanted to do. And so I was trying to figure all that out. In the meantime, having these experiences, especially in this house, I was really open. I think after having two deaths and a new baby and all the things, like my body was just kind of like this wide open
Hmm.
receiver. So, in saying that, then what started happening was kind of lower energies started coming towards me. So I'd be waking up to very, very, like when you said before, was the energy of your grandpa like scary or whatever? Like this was fearful, super scary. Every night I'd wake up to the same energy in my room for like almost a month, I would say.
And can you describe that for us? So you're waking up and you're physically seeing it, you're sensing it. Walk us through what that looked and felt like.
Yeah, it's kind of like you can feel it's this like it's a really dense energy. It kind of is like a figure really near you. Sometimes would push me, like try to go through me or like push or physically. I had it up on my bed trying to pull me out of bed. Like it was just trying to be malicious. I don't know how else to like describe it, but it was, yeah, every time I felt it, I was like, no, please, no, please, no, please, no. Like I could feel that it was just right there. And I'm like, not again, not again. I would just like keep my eyes closed because I didn't even want to deal with it.
Oh my gosh. And it is giving off like a negative, lower density kind of energy. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, and so what do you do? Like when does it stop?
So I learned that if you say go away or you can't come close to me, like basically fuck off, they have to listen. Like, so that was a lesson. in that journey part, and something I didn't know. So I was like, okay. So I would just keep every night, just like, go away, leave me alone. You don't have permission, try to do protection around me, those kind of things.
And
And
did
it
that
finally
work?
broke. It worked, but it would still come back every night. So it would work in the meantime, like it would work.
Oh, I see. So it'd work for that night. It would go
Exactly.
away, but then tomorrow would show back up and you'd have to do it again. Okay.
Yeah. So it got to the point where instead of being fearful, I got curious because I was like, what is going on that this thing is just continuously here? So I finally gave it permission. I said, there was one night that I said, fine, what is it that you want? You can come near me. And holy smokes. it it entered me, made my mouth open up, and it cackled. So it went, I kid you not.
What?
Yes. And I was
Wait,
like,
Leah. This spirit, you said do what you gave it the permission, which I think is so key. Anybody listening here, you have free will, you decide. And before you were deciding, no, get away. But this time you said, okay, like, what do you got?
yeah.
It entered your body and it almost like took over.
hmm I had
What?
no control.
Okay. You had no control. You couldn't like kick it out, like, hey, get out of here after you let it.
After I let it, like, I had no control of my body when it formed into my mouth and like cackled and did like I could feel the evil or whatever you wanna call it, that in my mind, I was just like, "Oh, fuck no, like, get out. You do not have permission anymore." Like, yeah, I freaked out and, like, told it to F off, basically, so,
And then it
yeah.
did.
And it did, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So rest assured, anybody who, if you ever experience this, we have free will. I think it is so, 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 so key. Okay. Wow. What an experience. Did that spike your curiosity even more of like, what was that, Leah? Like, what do you think it was?
Oh my gosh. I still, to this day, not really sure other than I do know that that house in particular has some negative energy with it. So I do believe it was connected to the house.
Hmm.
I went on a whole journey. Like I see it now as I realize I had to go through that so that I was able to figure out the whole boundaries, protection, because I was wide open, right? So I needed to learn how to really keep my energy to me and then work with it when I want to, kind of thing. Yeah, it's a good thing in a way. And that was where I turned to like seek professional help because I couldn't find I was just so freaked out and I didn't understand what was going on. I didn't know if I was like, possessed or there was something, you hear those kind of things too.
Right.
Um,
And so when you say professional help, do you mean therapy or do you mean like training?
I mean, like, I was Googling up a storm about anyone that had these experiences or could help with these experiences. I basically found this woman in like Colorado, I think, that was offering guidance, basically spiritual guidance of some sort. So, and then she could teach you. Basically, I could have a phone call with her and then she could teach me how to do the protection and those kind of things. So that was really helpful. That's when I realized that there are other people there, but it's also we are capable of doing this all of ourselves. I don't know how else to say that other than like we can have the support of others that we actually know. It was a reminder of like, oh, wait a second, I know how to deal with these energies and be with them because we are that too. And
Hmm.
it became less scary. Really went into like, okay, the fear, does fear attract negative energies? Love, where's that energy at? Is there imprints? Like I went as far as like, did someone have a fight in this room? Did something happen? Is there some sort of lower energy imprinted in this particular space? Did turn out, did some research, it seems like the house was built on a burial ground. So that kind of explained some, you know, okay, we're tapping into some old stuff here. And
So tell me tell me, I know you're making like the best out of the situation. You're like, it's good. It was great. It was my
It's
learning. But like, tell me you moved.
hard. I had to because my house burnt down. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Can you walk us
Okay.
through what happened there?
Yeah, so I will say that something that I learned to do is protect. We can do protection on us or for others, but it was protection of the house. So every night before bed, I would actually do this protection thing on the house because I noticed on the days that I didn't, I could still feel the spirit trying to like come close or push me around a little bit more. And I'm like, nope, nope, nope. But every time I did this like protection thing, it left us alone. I also learned how to do protections. Like that became something that I offered to people too, because I was like, oh, this is a thing. Like we need to clear our houses and really do the protection, especially if things are feeling not good in your space. So
I'm curious. So you're doing the protection on the house each night. Sometimes you're forgetting, you're noticing a difference of the nights that you do the protection, the nights you don't do the protection. So what happens
yeah.
with the fire?
So I literally was just not there. My family and I were down in Mexico for a couple months. I had a coworker staying in my space, and unfortunately, something had happened. And yeah, we got the phone call that our house was on fire. Um,
Wow.
I do believe, there that lower energy was pretty strong, so it probably fed off of other lower energies. That's yeah.
All right. So you move from the house because the house burns down. And so it sounds like this was really a initiation and like a big learning opportunity for you in terms of energy, feeling it, discernment, what feels good, what doesn't feel good, what we want to protect from, what we want to lean into, how you're like sensing it in your space, but also on individuals. At this point, are you a Reiki master? Like, are you working in massage and Reiki and helping people that way?
Yeah, so at this point, I stopped saying I was doing Reiki because I felt I was doing Jikiden Reiki, which it has certain rules, and I didn't want to overstep by doing the reading part. So I did like a 6 month course with James Von Prague, and like I started really getting into the mediumship part because I was like, "Ooh, like connecting with the spirits and those kind of things. That's fun." So I stopped, yeah, calling it Reiki just out of respect to that group and just said that I did healings and readings. So basically, a session would look like you would get on my table. I didn't want to know anything about you that's going on, so I wasn't influenced in any way. And I would do these energy healings and then be reading your energy at the same time. And then at the
Mm,
end, we would talk about whatever I noticed or came up, and it often would correlate with whatever they came to see me about. So it was just a validation for, both of us that, okay, you can read this energy and we can help, move it through your body if that's what's going on or release it. Cord cutting kind of started coming into place. Also, not that I knew that this was going to happen, but like started helping people get rid of their, negative energies and stuff because I could understand how scary it was. And there's not a lot of people that you can go to for that. So,
and for doing that, do you have to be in the physical location, or is it something that you can do at, via Zoom or something like that?
yeah, I had both. You absolutely can do it distantly because it's energy. Yeah, you don't need to be there. So I was doing both. And I have to say that I took a little break because I moved to Hawaii. I was called to the ocean and the sun and the spirit of Hawaii, which is a whole other story. But I've decided, yeah, to start opening back my services, and it would just be remotely, so just virtual.
Very cool. Can you walk us through like maybe an example and you don't have to say names or anything, but like someone who came to you on your table, what you saw, what you experienced as messages that came through? I'm just so curious about these readings and these healing sessions.
Totally. Oh gosh, everyone is different, so it's really hard to pick, but I would say a few examples. Often when you're tapping in, you can feel right away if it's correlated with like a relationship or financial or like what is going on that's bringing this energy kind of down, and how can we help kind of raise that vibration so that person can feel like, I don't want to say the will to live, but we all get to that point in our lives where we're sometimes feeling like really down and out. So you can kind of do a scan. You can see whether or not there's like, I don't want to say an entity, but some sort of lower energy has connected to them in a certain space and help get rid of that. And so there was, what's coming to mind is this gentleman. He was an older man, totally I feel for him. He was freaked out of his mind because he had a really negative experience spiritually and was seeing, I think, like worms, dead worms, and I don't know, animals, and just like he was freaked out. This thing had come to him and he didn't know what to do. And you could literally see there was some like blackness on him. And so like I could like just pull it out. It was almost like tar. And his whole body shook and he slept for the first time that night. Yeah, it was a really nice, like, oh, experience that could have happened for him. And I was so glad that I was able to facilitate that, just because I remembering my experience and not knowing who to talk to and those kind of things. So I also have had like, oh gosh, I remember working on this girl and her energy was really low, like sad and grief. You could feel it. Grief is such a not an easy one to feel, but you can tell right away in that person's energy field. And these two little boys were running around. I could just see their spirits. So it's kind of scary sometimes on my end as a practitioner to like say anything. So you're like, I don't know how this person will take this. But at the end of the session, I said, I just have to tell you, there was like these two little boys just like playing around and super like playful and kind of silly. And I don't know if they're at all connected to you, but I just wanted to tell you. And she's like, oh my gosh, I just lost my pregnancy and it was twin boys. And I was like, no. So like just that little like,
Confirmation to her that they're with you and they're in a good place and they're having fun and
yeah,
oh,
totally.
I can see where the mediumship comes into play. So it's a bit of a mediumship, it's a bit of healing energy work, that kind of a thing.
Totally. I mean, it's so much of I've always struggled with what do I call myself or what do I say I do? Because
Right.
I mean, there's intuition, there's channeling. I've channeled stuff. You can see some people have really bright auras. So, like, you're doing all sorts of things. There could be psychic work in there. And yeah, I don't know. It's energy.
Yeah. It's
That's where
energy. It's all
I'm like,
energy
it's
work.
all energy. It totally
Mm.
is. So, my passion at towards the end really became like, oh my gosh, we are energy. We haven't been taught how to work with our energy. We have such super powers inside of us. And I almost feel like purposefully we were not taught younger, because you can kind of see things popping up, right? Like telepathy. And I think we all have some sort of, it's fun to figure out like what your clairs are, like the clairvoyant, claircognizant, those kind of things. So it's really fun to figure out what is my superpower and how can
Mhm.
I like hone in on it. And what if I had known this all along? Like, I think, we're all born with it. I don't think there's just, some people are special and gifted. I just think we're just relearning what we are and what our gifts are. And so that gets me really excited to talk about.
Okay. And just for
Yeah.
anybody listening who doesn't know what the clairs are, it's how you kind of sense the different information or you get receive messages from source or loved ones, things like that. So it's like clairvoyant, which most people have heard of. It's like clear vision. Clair means clear. So it's like clear vision. You've got claircognizant, which is clear knowing, clairsentient, which is clear feeling. There's a taste, there's a smell. It sounds like you have it very clairvoyant, like it's you see things.
I would say my first one would be clairsentient. I definitely feel it way before. Looking back now, that definitely was a thing in childhood. And I didn't realize, like, I just thought I was really sensitive and I was very quiet, very sensitive. I didn't know how to process anything really
Mhm.
that way. But now that I know that, like, oh, I felt everything. And so working at that, yeah.
So, okay, this is really interesting to me, Leah, because I've heard this on multiple occasions where someone's spiritual gifts will come in after they have kids or after they lose a significant person in their life. This kind of happened to you around the time you had both. You lost your brother, you lost your sister, you had your two children, and then you kind of come into these gifts. Have you ever reflected on why that is? Is it like you're close to the birth and death portal? And I don't know, what interpretations have you made about why that would be?
Yeah, I do feel, I mean, I definitely thought about that too because I was very close with my brother and I was pregnant and had my son 3 months later. And that emotional bond, I don't know, you could tell like there was just something else that different. Him and I are still really close too. So I think there's something there with the birth and death. I definitely became a birth doula as well. So I've worked with babies. My mom is a death doula, so
Oh,
it's really like there definitely is that portal, and just being close to it is so amazing. Like the energy that comes through or when it leaves, it's beautiful. So
do you have fear around different energies, whether, you call it like lower entity beings or demons or the devil, that kind of a thing? Like, do you have fear or do you feel empowered?
Yeah, I don't anymore. I do
No
feel
fear.
empowered. No, I understand it better. I do realize, you have to have kind of both to balance. So you're going to have high energies, you're going to also have low energies, and that's how I see it. And how we deal with each one is, I don't want to say learning, but it's just a part of like who we are with the energetics. So yeah, I'm not very fearful of any of that. I also don't like to embody that energy, the fear energy, because that does also attract those lower entities and whatnot. And that's just not something I'm interested. So
I was gonna ask, do you feel like there's times where you're more susceptible to that type of energy than other times?
absolutely. Definitely when I'm just either physically worn out, mentally, there's just, I'm just not feeling myself. And so I also am aware, like, I'm human too, and I have to really get in touch sometimes when, like, I'm not feeling myself, like, what's going on, and have I attracted some sort of lower energies? And do I need to cleanse myself? Do I need to, like, what am I eating? What am I drinking? Those kind of things. Like, really taking care of your energetic body as well.
Hmm.
So I find, yeah, when I'm not sleeping as well and getting caught up in life, I can also start attracting that lower, and then you'll see it. Things happen in your life where like it's just not going right, and yeah, you're just having bad day after bad day, and you're like, whoa, I need to shift this. So
Hmm. This is something I talked to again with Catherine on the podcast, and we were talking about lower density energies. And she said, they can't take over, they can only influence. Like you have control over yourself and you have free will. And exactly to your point of when you were protecting yourself and saying, you're not welcome here, go away, they have to listen. They can only influence. But when we are in those low vibrational states, whether we're tired or we're stressed or we're angry or we're scared or whatever it is, we're fearful, we're in a deep sense of fear, like you are more susceptible to their influence. And if somebody listening right now is in a place where they have been influenced and they are susceptible to that right now, like what would you do to kind of turn the ship around or raise the vibration?
yeah, immediately I would say get into water would be something that they can just do and not have to like think about it. So you just want to cleanse yourself. Then, seeing where mental state is, your physical state, what's going on in your life. Like, what have you been ignoring? Anything like that. Often people will say to like meditate, those kind of things, but I know that that's difficult for a lot of people. So I really honestly like getting into a shower, a bath, the ocean, the lake. That's just your immediate thing. Then if you want to put your feet on the ground, like using those nature, it's really an amazing tool that we can use right away. And I think we often get caught up in our like day to day, get into our car, come back, go into the house, those kind of things, and not really utilizing what was given to us. So use the elements for sure. You can just clear yourself. So it just gives yourself like even a tad bit of like, okay, where do like a scan of your body. Where am I feeling like this isn't not me right now? Or, what's going on? Do I have something attached to me? That kind of stuff. Yeah.
Mhm. And if you feel that there is something attached to you, maybe you feel a heaviness or you feel a darkness somewhere in your body, like,
Hmm.
then what do you do?
Hmm. You would either seek out people like me if it's
Mhm.
like feeling like this is something I can't do myself. But the immediate thing that you could do is just shift that energy. So you can even like when you close your eyes, you can imagine like, a lot of people imagine purples or greens or something, some sort of like healing love energy. And you're put your hands to that space, or if you can, if you can't, just imagine that color going into that space and just doing like a nice clearing of that as well. Sometimes that's all it takes. Sometimes it does take a cord cutting. We have these little like micro cords that, we connect with people every day. So you just need to sometimes just brush yourself off.
What's really cool and what I'm hearing from you too is that if you were to do that, you're sending love instead of fear. Because if you did a scan and you were like, oh my gosh, I have this heaviness sitting on my left shoulder, well, that could conjure up some more fear of what's attached to me. How did it get there? How long has it been here? What is it doing? But if you send it that love, it's sounding like this is what I'm hearing from you a little bit, all these different words, but sending it that color, sending
Yeah.
it that love, like that's what will help let it go.
Absolutely, because if it's something that has this lower energy, like it's kind of like a fan, where like if you were to shift your energy and like really have this bright light coming off of you too, you're kind of pushing stuff away. They can't continue to attach because there's just nothing to attach onto.
Ooh, I like that. You're
Yeah,
like a fan blowing everything away just with your love and your
totally.
light. Yeah, it sounds corny. People are like love and light, but
It does.
truly so powerful. Do you feel like people are more powerful than they give themselves credit for or they are aware of?
100%. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's something that I do hope that we can start, teaching our children just because they're going to grow up to be these amazing beings if they know how to work with their energy and others. And it's kind of like when we were talking about the clairs as well, it's like we were taught that there's these like five senses, but we weren't taught that there's actually these other senses as well, right? So imagine combining them all and you're walking and you know how to like when you can bring your energy big and you know when to bring your energy small and you know how to like protect when you're standing next to someone that doesn't feel good and those kind of things. It's like, yeah, you're superhuman for sure.
Do you protect your energy on a daily basis? Like, do you recommend that people do that?
I do, unless you're like in a safe space. I do think like if you're going to be out in the world, it's just good to be aware of it. It's not something that's like, oh, I have to do this every day and protect myself. It's more of like shifting your mind into realizing like you are energy. And so what today I'm going to wake up and just be like, where's my energy at? And just see like, am I super high or am I super low? If I'm feeling a little bit lower, maybe at this point I'm going to bring my energy back in. And not just share it with so many people at now. Just and it can be as simple as that. It doesn't have to be like this whole like meditation and protection chants and those kind of things. Yeah.
Right. What I'm hearing from you around the daily protection and also almost the energy clearing, there's this element of intention, like just thinking
Hmm.
about it and being intentional and saying what you want. Am I correct in that assumption?
Absolutely. Gosh, the intentions, it's fascinating, like even with your words. And just, I watch people like, say, I have coworkers that will say like, I have no money, I'm poor, I'm having a bad day, those kind of things. And you're just like, ugh, like why are you bringing that into your space? You know?
Right. Words are spells. That's what I love. Like words are spells. If you're saying you're broke, you're not gonna be like that. You're just gonna continue to manifest more things that'll continue to make you broke. If you're like, I'm tired, I'm this, I'm that, like giving it that energy, it just feeds off of that. But the flip side is the positive also feeds. Like, I'm abundant. Life is abundant. Life is full of opportunities. When you move through the world with that belief and saying that out loud, you're going to have a completely different experience of reality than somebody who's like, life sucks right now. Everything is hard. The world is a mess. That kind of rhetoric.
Totally. And I do want to point out too, when you start coming out of your natural habits and just like, because you start getting uncomfortable, your body and mind's gonna be like, I'm bored, or like something has to change, this doesn't feel right. And so you start exploring, and as you're shifting into perhaps maybe a new version of yourself, as your mindset grows, you're realizing like you're bigger than who you thought as well. You're wanting bigger things too, so you're putting those intentions out there, but the fear can come back in because you're like, what am I doing? What's going on? And then you'll have people tell you, you shouldn't be doing that, why are you thinking that way, those kind of things. And so it's fascinating to watch, like, something's about to shift or change and you're going into something great when you start getting all this, like, feedback of, like, "Oh, no, no, I don't know if you should do that," those kind of things. So I've just experienced that moving from Canada to Hawaii, and it's just like, "Oh, you're going into the States. What are you doing?" You're taking your kids, like, it was a lot of, "Oh, I have to push through this fear," but yeah, on the other side is amazing as well, and so you could do it, then that would be something that I would share with the listeners too. Just push through
Mm.
that fear.
So, is there any other, spiritually transformative experiences that you wanted to highlight to kind of wrap this up at all? No, we went over a bunch.
Yeah, um, I do wanna touch upon animals because I've lost some beautiful animals in my day, and they are there too with you hanging out. The energies are still with you if you've lost babies and those kind of things, just so you know they are still around you. And I hope that gives you some kind of hope, and know that you're not alone. And there is a lot of people that want to talk. And honestly, I was telling you, I felt very lonely about all of this like years ago when I was going through it. Now I see it's like everywhere. It's on social media. People are talking about it. They're interested in it. They're starting to realize. And so I love where this is all going. And I think some amazing shifts are about to happen, even worldly. And you can kind of see that now. So, yeah.
Yes, yes, there's definitely a grand awakening happening, and we can find our people online who are loving this and talking about it. And we're not just relegated towards friends and family who might or might not be into this kind of thing, but you can find your tribe and your group and people who are into it, which is really, really cool. And that's a great
Yeah.
message that the loved ones and the pets, they're around you. I'm so curious, as somebody who's into this world and is a medium and around this type of energy. I have this theory that people who lose significant figures in their lives, whether it's a best friend or a sibling or a parent, they pass on, they die, that those people are like this guardian angel that the person living can really tap into because they lived in this timeline. They lived in this reality. It's almost a closer connection than, say, a guide or that kind of a thing. But it's like this guardian angel that's guiding them, sending them messages, giving them opportunities, that kind of a thing. This is my theory. Yeah, I'm curious your take on that.
Totally. Yes, I do think I joke about like we take turns. So as a family unit, we kind of like also stay, we have different like roles, I think. And so like my brother and sister were definitely like I thank them so much for they're the ones that spurred on my opening, my spiritual awakening, and who I am today. And so we joke about in our family, like, okay, which one of us is going to be next? Because so in the next lifetime, we'll do the same for them, kind of thing, or we already have, or those kind of things. So, yes, the guidance piece, I feel them almost every day, and they're always leaving like dimes around or like little like ladybugs will come or just something to remind me, like, oh, I'm here, especially when you're having a little bit, maybe you're in your mind or you're like having maybe a hard day or something, and I'll look down and there's a dime. And I'm like, oh, thank you for reminding me. Like, it's not a big deal. That's definitely something that I've realized is like, yes, they're guiding you and you can live a bit more free because you're being watched over and helped in a way. But I have to say what's interesting is that they're the ones that I would probably have the hardest time connecting to on a spiritual, like seeing them or like mediumship wise. And I know other mediums are like that too, or like we're
I've heard
just
that.
too close.
Mhm.
Yeah, so there's that kind of where it's a little bit like, "Oh, I would like to see you guys more, hang out with
Right.
you more." Yeah, I appreciate that, and I know they're around too, so it's beautiful. Yeah. So yes, I do agree with that as well.
So we talked about your sessions. You were not sure exactly what to call them, but they're definitely healing sessions. There's some mediumship, there's some channeling. I don't know if there's psychicism that you said, but it's kind of a holistic approach and you're doing them virtually. Anything else that people should know of, like what type of people come to have a session with you?
Yeah, I find those that are seeking like some sort of like guidance, not knowing what they want to do with their life, or just feeling kind of stuck, or like I said, the lower energies, just like they know something's on them, they're a bit scared or fearful. All the way to like I've worked a lot with women that are trying to get pregnant, or like anyone with the whole babies and stuff. I think that follows me around naturally. So yeah, just anyone that's feeling a little bit off, and even just physical healing too. Like if you have knee pain or hip pain, and we can help with that too, and see what's going on in there as well. Pretty much just for anyone that has a body, anyone that's energy.
Yeah, right. Anyone who's got anything going on, you got your
Yeah.
girl. It's Leah. Okay, so Leah, how can people connect with you?
I do have our website. It is soulstream.io. Yeah, I picked Soulstream because just of the streaming virtually of the frequencies as well as the channeling as well. So, and then I'm also right next to the ocean. So
I love that. Just it has like this
yeah,
beautiful visual when you hear it, soul stream. You just feel like an energy kind of coming down and cleansing. And I will have everything
yeah.
linked in the show notes. Leah, thank you so much for coming on. This is so fun. Do you have any parting messages or words for the listeners?
Just remember that you're super powerful and you have the say. So if you're ever in a space that you need to say no, they have to listen. And that's like a universal rule. And that's something that's really important for everyone to know.
That's so empowering. Thank you so much for coming on. This has been so fun.
Thank you. Yeah, totally. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So welcome.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Meant to Be Heard. If this episode resonated, please share it with a friend, rate the podcast, and hit follow so you never miss an episode. You can find us on Instagram and TikTok at You're Meant to Be Here with a 2. New episodes drop Mondays. Wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you're meant to be here.